Meteorologist Bobby Deskins, James Hopkins join me.
I'm here with you.
We're talking tropics out there today, James, and we've got a really kind of interesting system. It's not terrible, it's not severe weather out there right now, but it was close to developing.
Yeah.
Just before.
And you and I were talking before the show where they're actually showing the center of this thing. And this is why we talk about a trough being an extended area of low pressure and them trying to pinpoint where the center of this thing is. and not necessarily that it made any kind of turn. That's just where they thought it was earlier to where they think it is now. It'd be nice if it made a turn and kept going to the north.
Yeah, it would. You can see it's moving off. And so what James is saying here is you can see the track. This is the history. I went here and then just hard right turn. Really didn't do just a hard right turn. They had a center down here, but then look, another center forms. You can see, and this one actually formed somewhere over in here. Ready? Watch this. It's right about there. And then it comes over and in. And so they just, well, oh, we're following this center. That one fell apart. Now we'll jump up to this center. And then you can see it's all just kind of moving across north central Florida right now. So that includes Hernando and Citrus County for us. But look, this is just moderate rainfall more than anything else. I mean, this is not a lot of severe weather opportunity. There is the chance, but we haven't seen anything so far. But we've got some pretty decent rains coming through, and that's really, especially for Citrus County and really up in the Levy County. You go up another county north and up even towards Gainesville, but you can see most of that is just to the south of the Gainesville area. But they're going to have a bunch of storms kind of training over top of them as this moves away. But this is a visible satellite, and that is a lot easier to see these low-level swirls. See, we don't have the visible satellites dark, but then see the swirl here? And so that's where they eventually left it up to. Okay, and so that's why it's got that kind of weird look to it. But notice another thing to see here, look where all of the rain is in the convection. There's the center, okay, right here coming on, and all the rain's out over here. All right, so this thing is sheared. It's got some north to northeast wind shear, which means wind's coming in from the north and northeast. It blows away the convection around whatever center's there and pushes all the rain back out towards the west. So here's where we are right now. We do have some very moderate rainfall, steady rainfall across Citrus County, Levy County, a little bit in Hernando County. But you can see it doesn't even all the way get down to Pasco County, at least not the immediate rainfall that's associated near the center of this thing.
Yeah, and with that low pushing its way across, eventually it looks to forecast model showing it moving its way to the west and moving across. We're going to gradually get that shift of the wind because now you can start to see those storms coming up from the south. Big difference from what we had yesterday with that line, that big bow coming down from the north and northeast crossing the area. And I think I looked at my radar at one point in time, everybody was seeing rain.
Yep.
Everybody, and actually the first time that's happened since I've been here, because we do have a good chance for rain, kind of expecting it here and there, but there was not a dry spot on the radar. And you're talking about a tornado yesterday. We had some damaging winds and a lot of rain, especially in eastern Hillsborough County there, where we did get that 10 inches within 3 hours. That was a lot of rain.
Yeah, Plant City, south of Plant City.
Yep.
Now, the other issue is, so the heaviest steady rainfall chance obviously is going to be up north, Hernando and especially Citrus County as that moves through, okay? South of there, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Polk County. See these storms? Not a lot of storminess, okay? But there's not a lot of steering currents down here because this position south of where that center is, all right? South-southwest, okay? So these will actually be slow movers once they form. Not everybody's going to get them. They'll be pretty sporadic, just like you're seeing here. We got one here, this rains, drifts, falls apart. Another one here, rains, drifts, falls apart. It creates another one. See this outflow boundary right here? That's interacting with this boundary that was left over. And watch what happens right here. Boom. Okay? Those two boundaries come together, you get showers and storms. We're going to get more down in this area here. You can see 1, 2, and then look at the third one is really just getting started right there. That one should flare up pretty good. So that's the type of rain that we're going to see for the rest of the evening hours, which means not everybody's going to get it, but they're slow movers and they have been producing quite a bit of lightning. Now, further south, it gets a little bit more interesting, and this is actually going to make it a little bit further to the north. So DeSoto County is already there. I think Arcadia, we could be seeing some of these. Southwestern Highlands County, you can see it's building up towards Lake Placid. And a few more of these are some outflow boundaries here. You see that happening in Manatee County. Lakewood Ranch is right about over here, so it's going to be pretty close to that. But this right here is really kind of a a key to what we're going to see tomorrow. You see how all this flow is coming in from the south and the east. Once that center gets back out over the Gulf and continues to move to the west, we're going to be more on that side of it. And so as we heat up tomorrow, instead of having these storms that we have out here now, they're just very slow movers kind of drifting around, we're going to get into these. We're going to get these moving up the coast and coming up towards from the southeast to the north and the west.
And it looks like models were showing that for the next 2 days, because of course with that low going out and possibly strengthening up, we'll get that broad circulation with that, continue to pull up that tropical moisture from the south and southeast all the way through Thursday as well. And then we'll see what happens as that moves its way further out. Looks like most forecast models have that low going onshore throughout Thursday evening into the overnight and be over land by Friday if it can hold together, right? If it can hold together.
Here's a couple good little thunderstorms on either side of the center here flaring up right now and starting to fill into the north too. Pretty interesting. We do not expect it to strengthen while it's over land, but the heating of this land that I'm showing you here, that helps with lift. Okay, you've already got the spin coming through. Now you're going to add a few thunderstorms. It may actually get out into the Gulf in a little bit better convective phase, if you will, than what it is right now. But a lot of those will fall apart, so we'll just have to see what happens. But right now, the rainfall estimates are kind of what we thought. You know, most areas maybe 2 to 3, and that would be it. Maybe 1 to 3, to be honest with you. But some of these spots in here that is orange is over 6 inches. Okay, that's about 5 inches or so right there in the middle. So there are going to be some heavier spots, but clearly with this rainfall coming in, it's really going to be in this area right in here.
Yeah, and forecast models did pick up pretty good, especially the European model showed the very heavy rain up along the nature coast for our area as we went throughout the day today. And then it took that chance down tomorrow, of course, with a little bit more widespread tomorrow with the flow coming out of the southeast and crossing over.
It's a little bit more thunderstorm activity tomorrow. We have a few out there now, but most of it's that big blob of rain. We do have some flood issues already. Now, mainly to our north, we have that flood advisory. That's in effect until 5 o'clock for Marion County. However, we are going to be watching the rivers. They're coming up here over the next several days. Let's take a look at the flood watch that we have out there, and you can see that that will be in effect until 11 o'clock. Now, again, the flood watch includes Manatee County, right? All of the rain, the steady rain is up here. So this area here has the better chance of just seeing moderate rainfall that will add up a little bit over time. Down here, it's very sporadic, all right? Most of us will not even get a lot of rain. But because they're slow movers, some spots could get 2-3 inches in a short amount of time. So it's not like everybody's going to get that much just because your county happens to be shaded in the green here. And what this means is flooding, localized flooding. That intersection that tends to flood anytime you get a very heavy rainfall, or that part of your yard that floods when you get very heavy rainfall, right? That's what we're talking about. This is not storm surge flooding. This is not widespread issues. But this is a chance in all of that area. So it looks a little, I think, misleading when you have that whole area in there. But remember, we've had a lot of rain the last 2 days at least, right? And you add any rain on top of that today, slow-moving thunderstorms, and you're saturated, so you can cause some flooding issues. That's one of the reasons why they issued the flood watch today and not tomorrow.
Yeah, get a lot of runoff.
Yeah, exactly right. Excess runoff. So wind, not a lot of wind. Look what's happening right now up here in Jacksonville, 14-mile-per-hour winds. We had gusts to about 20 to 25. And you can see that orange area offshore. That is a little bit more in the way of wind, but that's mostly offshore, and then it gets up into Georgia there. So this is not a wind event for us. It will get a little breezy tomorrow. South to southeast winds coming up the coast around 15 to 20 miles per hour, but that's as the system itself is sitting out here. Okay, so it'll be moving away, maybe even further to the north and doing something like this. We'll show you those tracks in a second here. But this is not a windstorm, at least not for Florida, all right? Just a little breeze, though, over on the East Coast now, and then a breeze for us from southeast to northwest, not only for Wednesday, but I think also on Thursday, too. All right, now, let's talk spaghetti plots, everybody's favorite here.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot whenever we're forecasting, especially in the early stages like this, and it's not until this gets in the Gulf, and like we showed you today, how hard it is to pinpoint where the actual center is, because you'll notice what he's getting ready to show you on these spaghetti plots where they initiate in the wrong spot. because when these forecast models come out, we don't know where the circulation is just yet. So once this goes out into the Gulf, and again, what we talk about becoming better organized, basically be able to pinpoint a center, the forecast models get a lot more accurate on where this thing is going to go. Because again, right now it's a developing low that's basically off of a trough. So once we get good circulation, which won't be till tomorrow. I mean, like I said, we could get, with some of the heating we have over land right now, I think when a lunchtime hour, we had spots in our area over, of course, triple digits. Some spots 105, 106. And when you get that heat.
Feels like temperature.
Yes, exactly. Feels like that. This shows the fuel that we have. We have the heat, we have the humidity, and that's what's fueling our thunderstorms out there, especially that humidity with those heavy downpours. Once this thing gets out in the Gulf, we get a better handle on the models get a better handle on where the actual center of this thing is. We'll get a lot better forecast models.
Well, they all initialize off of where the hurricane center puts the center. That is why recon is so important, especially when they're way out over in the ocean. That's usually when we get recon, right? Because the model, some think it's here, some think it's here, some think it's here. We send a plane out there and they say, nope, it's right here.
Yeah.
And then you feed that one spot to all of the models. And then they say, okay, if it's here, I think it's going here, I think it's going here, and you get all these lines. If you look at this map, look at these lines down here. They didn't even initialize in the right spot. Okay, so follow this line right here. It's very doubtful that this system's going to come down here, come around, and then come back up towards New Orleans. Okay, because look what happened. They went ahead and they changed where that low-level center was. They said, okay, here it is, and then watch this line. That's pretty much over the panhandle of Florida. It just barely hugging the coast. All right, so we'll have to see, because if this thing goes a little further to the north, it's really going to be skirting the coast, and it's going to be having a really hard time strengthening even as it gets out over the water, because it's half over water. The other half's going to be right there. So that interaction with land is going to limit any strengthening it can do. The intensity forecast models, maybe one or two get it to Dexter, which would be tropical storm. Almost every single one of them keeps it below that, and especially when they start running now and seeing that it's going to be closer to land. So can it get there? It can. Yeah. And we'll show you some forecast models, but that's going to be a tough road to go right there. And so then I wouldn't even put a whole lot of faith into this curve here. It might actually get a little bit closer to that and come up here. But what is that at that point? It's really just moisture. So here's the forecast for us. Okay, this is the high-res resolution, high-res model. And this goes out through 8 o'clock tonight. Look where the green blob is. Okay, see where it is now? It's all the way up here. That's 8 p.m. Look at Citrus County. Hernando's starting to dry out a little bit. Citrus kind of starting to dry out, not as moderate rainfall as you saw. These are those lines of showers coming in from the south, but there's only a few of them in here. This whole area is not raining, but that whole area has a spot for lines of showers and storms to come through. Okay, that's 8 o'clock tonight. Now let's go out to about 11 o'clock. Look where our tropical area is, our disturbance sitting out here. You've got a couple thunderstorms left over, but those are starting to fall apart. That's 11 p.m. Tonight. And then by 3 a.m., I do think we'll get a line of storms to form right there along the coast. So you may hear that tonight. You may see the lightning and hear some thunder rumbling, but that should be moving away and out towards the Gulf as we're sleeping tonight, 3 to 5 in the morning. So here, tomorrow morning we wake up right around 8:30, whatever time you're getting up, that's dry. Okay, we're looking good. Most of the area will not have any rain. And then what we'll do is we'll start watching this stuff down here to the south. All right, what's that going to look like? So for that, let's take a little bit bigger picture. Let's go out to tonight. This is tonight at 11 p.m. Let's go out to tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Watch what happens now from Tampa down to Fort Myers. Okay, that's where you're going to see the showers start to pick up. You see this right here? Moving right up the coast. See those wind arrows going up? It's a little bit breezy. Okay, but that's going to transport these showers and storms that form over here and bring them up the coast. Now, most of it's not going to happen until we heat up. So we're talking, this is 2:30 in the afternoon. That's going to be one of our best times to see showers and thunderstorms, because the daytime heating, just like a regular day when they boil up and we get our storms, that process is happening, but now we have a good little southeast wind to blow them up along the coast. That's 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Most of the rain is done. The coverage, the intensity, nothing like what we saw yesterday, but some of them could put down some heavy rainfall. We still have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere to work with. Now, this is Thursday morning. Our in-house model says something's sitting in here, And then watch it. Actually, I think it actually comes up and does something like this. Watch this as we go through the day on Thursday. It's still, despite the odds, look at that. It's trying to intensify this. That could be a tropical storm if that were to happen. This is way far out in time to say that that's going to happen. This model is going to change a little bit. It usually does a pretty good job, but it's just too far out in time to say that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and talking about, again, the difference between what we're seeing today, what we saw yesterday, and what we'll see tomorrow. And that's the reason why the Weather Prediction Center has taken us from a slight risk for that flooding today down to a marginal, which is just that level 1, because the storms tomorrow will actually be moving. Like you said, today they're just going to pop up. Again, looks like a pot of boiling water, just boil up, and then heavy rain, and then rain themselves out and not move very much. For tomorrow, with that low being off to our northwest and actually moving, we actually have a wind for tomorrow. Today our wind was only about 5 to 10 knots. Tomorrow the forecast models are going possibly up to 25 knots for our winds. So it is going to be breezy tomorrow, but the good news is that'll help move the storms through where you're going to get some rain. It's not going to sit there and just dump on the same spot for a long period of time.
No, and this is our forecast model from the Euro looking at rainfall. And now this was triggered earlier today, so it may shift a little bit further to the north, but you can see it kind of does hug the coast here with this purple, which is a good 2+ inches of rainfall. And then see how the rain gets a little bit heavier over here, this rainfall total? That is an indication that it's trying to see it organize a little bit over here, make some heavier rainfall before coming into Louisiana somewhere. This is likely to change because of that shift in the center that we saw today. Now, James, this is what you're referring to, the excessive rainfall outlook, and you can see we're in the yellow today. It's a 2 out of 4. But as we go into tomorrow, overall rainfall just drops, right? And a little bit of moisture drops, the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. But you see where it is, right?
The coast.
Remember we're talking about here, and everything kind of moving right up the coast. So that's for Wednesday, and then Thursday, again, same deal. In fact, you see it's a little bit drier air down south. We still have a few showers and storms coming from the southeast and northwest for us. Meanwhile, over here, I mean, it really is just starting to pick up. You can see the heavier rainfall into Louisiana. And we'll see if this bears out again. This is kind of far out in time for hurricane forecasting because we don't know if this thing's going to even survive that trip over there because it's so far to the north at this particular point. And then as we get into Saturday, we're looking good. We've been looking good Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the most part. Here are your rivers that you were talking about, James. The Horse Creek at Arcadia, that will go above flood stage, which when you're looking at this, the flood stage is this right here, not the action line, but where it says minor. That is the flood stage at the Horse Creek area in Arcadia. And so if you look at this and you go down, it's forecast now to get over flood stage right around 4 to 5 o'clock, maybe 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. All right. Then it's forecast to crest around 12.8 feet early Friday morning and then not come back down below until maybe 4 p.m. Sunday, maybe midday on Sunday.
Yeah, very slow. Quick to go up, very slow to go back down. And what you're talking about, that line there between action and minor is what they call bank full. So that's where it goes up over the bank. Yellow is where, hey, it's coming up. Yeah, take action, and then once it gets into that minor is when it comes over the banks. So yeah, expected to do that early Friday morning.
Yep, and so that's the Horse Creek at Arcadia. It just depends on how much more rain we get. We may get some more tomorrow, which I think we will. I think we'll get even some tonight. We're getting some right now, as a matter of fact. But I think we'll get more tomorrow as the storms fire up in the early afternoon hours. And so that's going to add a little bit to that, okay? And so this forecast may change. Now, the Little Manatee, this is up in Waimama, all right? That is coming up. And you can see that's going to be coming up by Thursday morning.
Look at how low it is now.
Yeah.
It's a little over 4 feet, expected to come up all the way to 11.6.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rain.
That's a lot of water. Almost doubles. Almost doubles the amount of water in there. But look, this is coming up around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be a quick rise for that. And then it will come back down maybe by 4 o'clock on Thursday. So that's a 24-hour period where it's above the freezing, above the flood stage, but then still is taking some action, and that by the time we get towards Friday morning, it'll be coming down below that.
It just kind of shows you where it is now, how dry we've been, and it's funny because we talked about the drought conditions, how they got better. The drought monitor cuts off on Monday, and we don't get the information until Thursday. So last Thursday we looked at, oh, we're looking so much better, and I know where I live, of course, is just to the east of 75. From then until yesterday, I haven't seen any rain. So you see how low, because I just live just north of Waimama, about 7-8 miles, and it's been very dry. My grass is already getting crunchy, well, till what we had come in yesterday. So you see how low that thing is, how quick it's going to jump. Like Bobby said, it's going to about triple. It's, again, a little over 4.3 now. It's going to rise to almost 12, 11.6. It's a lot.
All right, now the Alafaya River at Lithia, same deal. Okay, this one's coming up. Most of this is from what happened yesterday. All of that rain that came through yesterday, and that's what's doing most of this. But this is expected to jump up by 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. All right, so flood stage before the sun comes up tomorrow morning. If you're along the Alafaya River in Lithia, you need to be ready for that water to come up. It's going to go to about 14.7 feet. That's about 1.5 feet, a little bit better than 1.5 feet above flood stage.
Now that one's a lot closer. If you look at the map, that one's a lot closer to where they got the 10 inches of rain yesterday that we were talking about. That's in far eastern Hillsborough County. And
it would be interesting to see, right now they've got it coming below flood stage around 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. That might last a little bit longer, especially if we get a little bit more rain. There's still some water to kind of drain off into the Alafaya River, and we'll see how long that lasts. These forecasts are notorious for changing, okay? But this blue line that you see here, that's actual river stage level. So that is measured, okay? And that's really a really good thing, because we can see lots of trends in that, especially when it gets up into this area here. We can watch the trends. If it's starting to kind of level off a little bit, that gives us really a good idea that things are going to start to get better.
And the reason why those change so often is because, like you said, you don't know exactly where one of these thunderstorms like today is going to build and not move. It could be right over that, where models were showing it being around it. So depending on where that is and how much it dumps, and we've seen some of these, take aside from yesterday, I mean, how many days do we see these 1-2 inch per hour rainfall rates out of some of these storms?
And where it is. I mean, they're looking at radar estimated over that river basin too. So that number that you see there, whatever that crest is, that's a forecast. That's a river guy sitting at the NWS looking at it saying, okay, it looks like with how much rain is falling, they're calculating how much they think that's going to go. And so that will change. And then you wake up the next day and you look at where the river level is. There's a calculation of how much time since the heavy rainfall, and you can kind of figure things out, but that has to be done every single day. And so they'll be changed just a little bit. We are keeping our weather impact alert in effect for tomorrow. That's not a watch or a warning. This is our way here at 10 Tampa Bay of saying, hey, pay attention to the weather a little bit more than you normally would. All right, so for yesterday and today, and even for tomorrow, we issued that back Friday evening, right? Because we were seeing this was coming on. We're like, okay, we think Monday, Tuesday especially, going to have some good rain. Wednesday a little less. But Wednesday and Thursday, in theory, we probably keep this going through Thursday. We're going to back it down just a little bit. But we do think we have less rain altogether, especially than yesterday. But tomorrow afternoon, you see the 3, 5, 7 p.m., those storms coming through could put down some heavy rainfall. They're going to be moving a little bit quicker, especially than what we're seeing today, but they can train over the same area. And so that's something that we need to be watching for.
Yeah, and like you said, tomorrow, and we'll watch for Thursday as well, because we're still looking at that good flow out of the southeast.
Boating, so we do have some wind. This is tomorrow morning into the afternoon hours. And look at that southerly wind. Not the best boating. We normally do really good. That should not say 5 to 10 knots.
That was today's, actually, was 5 to 10 knots. Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, it was 15 to 25.
Yeah.
And the bay was choppy.
Yep.
And your seas were 2 to 3 feet for tomorrow. So not a boating day tomorrow.
And you can see the wind arrows will be south to southeast. So it is going to be increasing right there. Rain chances as we get going into the next several days. I mean, look at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's not a lot. In fact, I think Friday at 50% might even be high.
Good looking weekend.
Yeah, it is a good looking weekend. It's going to be warm. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. We're about 5 minutes away from 10 Tampa Bay at 5 o'clock over on CBS. Join us there. We'll have all the latest news along with your forecast.